Have you ever thought about repainting a model locomotive into a livery you want? Well, stick around. This is going to be good. Hey guys, welcome back to Proper Chuffed. My name's Hilton and I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. But that is half the fun of this, isn't it? This video has literally been months in the making, and to be honest, it's well worth the wait. Earlier this year, I contacted Sam from Emperor's Path. You may know him better from MERP, the Model Rail Replacement podcast, and asked him if he could do a custom Class 47 for me. Yes, I know, I have a 37 thing, but occasionally I do have wandering eyes. Don't judge me. Anyways, Sam got back to me and said, "Got you, dude. Let's do this." And the day has finally come where I can reveal all of it. And the results are absolutely fantastic. You know what else is fantastic though? Merch. I'm sorry, I tried. That's right, Proper Chuffed merch has finally hit the shelves, or the shelves of the internet, I guess. You too can wear this ridiculous logo on your hoodie if you want to now. And on top of that, I've done another design, which is not so Proper Chuffed, but also super Proper Chuffed, if you know what I mean. The Korean Lyric Breakfast of Champions is available now and will only be around for a couple of months before it disappears forever. And right now you can get 25% off until the 30th of August, which is not too bad, to be honest. Anyways, the merch should pop up below this video and I'll link it in my description too. But we've got a lot to get through today. So let's go back in time all the way to Portsmouth and see what Sam's up to.
This will serve me right for not having an actual proper stand at my weathering desk for this. So, Hilton has said about trying to document this series. I'm really bad at doing sort of stage by stage production. So if you've ever seen any of my stuff before, you'll know it's not my forte. However, I'm going to try and do it because I really enjoy what Hilton does and I want to try and help however I can.
That's really cute. Hey Sam, it's Hilton from the future. I'm editing this video and I thought I'd drop a few comments here while we go through it. And the real reason I got you to do this video is actually so that everyone can see what you do because you're so bad at making videos. Not that you're bad at making videos, but you're bad with your upload schedule. And I'm yet to see a video of you doing an entire project start to finish. So here we are. Anyways, let's continue, shall we?
So, first things first, the beautiful wrapping that Clark Railworks have done on this Loco. Now, it feels a crime that I'm the one who gets to open it and Hilton doesn't.
There's not a single person I'd rather have unwrap my Clark Railworks packages than you, Sam.
But I'm going to be really honest with you, I'm not going to wrap it back up because I don't package it that well. So, use scalpel, try and cut it open. That's a lie, I do wrap it well, I don't have wrapping paper that says Emperor's Path on it. Although now I kind of feel like I need wrapping paper that says Emperor's Path on it. Anytime you get a new Loco, it's always nice to have to unwrap it. You know what? Very nice. Put that down there for now. This is Class 47, Greyfriars Bobby. It has been renumbered from 47708 Waverley to 47711 Greyfriars Bobby. It's a 21 pin. It's part of the Model Rail Scotland stuff. What I like about the Clark Railworks stuff when they send it to you is it comes with a little tester sheet. It tells you whether it's good runner, near mint, excellent. It is DC with working lights, detail back and paperwork, and who it was tested by. It is a noisy runner. It is weathered, renamed, renumbered. It is a limited edition. There's marks around the nameplate. The detail is fitted to one end and it has a KD fitted, so that's always worth noting. So just to give you a rough idea. So, this Loco is in the ScotRail livery. However, what Hilton wants is, you've seen it where there's a Network Southeast Class 47 where it's got the ScotRail colours, but the ScotRail branding has been changed to Intercity. So that's usually what you see. There is one Loco that Hilton wants, which has the Intercity branding. No, has the Intercity colours, but it has the ScotRail branding on it. So on this one, you can see that it's a blue and cream. It's a very, very close colour scheme that pretty much matches itself. We just have to see what we can get done. So there we go, that's sorted. I will try and put that on my rolling road just to double check everything works, or in fact I'll get a battery and check it because it's DC, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do when it comes to a repaint, and I've just noticed there's still one more window that needs to come out, but the first thing you need to really consider is how good is the body work, how good's the paint job, before you decide which step you're going to take. Now, although the livery of this is very similar to the livery we want it to be in, because of the weathering that's gone on it and the previous attempt at putting transfers on, as you can see, that is the thickness of the varnish that's been put on there, which is not good for us, and also the damage to the bodywork from the nameplates that went on there. It's really important to make sure that for Hilton and the final finish on this, I mean, you can see there the super glue marks. If I tried taking that off with a scalpel, it's just going to damage the paint more and more.
Jeez, I really sent you quite a lemon, huh? All right, let's see where this goes.
For the finish for Hilton, that's the most important thing. It's not a case of how much time can I save myself. It's about how can we make sure that the finish on this is the same across the whole thing and it achieves what we need it to. So with that, we have to take the decision. This probably needs to take a bath in IPA, or I sit and clean off all the pieces. Either way, it is pretty much going to need a full repaint anyway. There's lots of ways we could do it, but I think I'm going to take the executive decision that this needs to take a little bath in some isopropyl alcohol, mainly to get off all of the dirt, the gunge, the grub. There's grease all over this from the previous owner, and you can see marks from the previous weathering on there. I think it's best for Hilton and the finished product on this that it needs to take a bath. Now, the reason we've taken all of the components out is because it's very easy during a painting process to forget to mask something up, like a piece of glass, a light, or something like that, and then ruin it. And for example, the fans that go in the roof here, some brands don't have removable ones, but the Bachmann 47s do. So obviously we want to keep this as a nice little highlight feature for Hilton when he's running it around on the layout. So we take that out so that when we're respraying the roof, we don't end up painting those and taking away that nice red. So this is going to take a little bit of a clean, and then the next thing we're going to do is prime it. Now, the majority of this is quite a dark color, so usually I'd go for a mid-tone grey for a primer, but I think on this one we're going to go black, and then we'll mask it up and do all the yellow bits and stuff like that, because that intercity black grey is a very difficult colour to do. So if we start with a black colour, it will certainly be easier to build up from black rather than going down from grey. So there we are. Let's see where this goes. So this always feels like a real travesty, but this is what's necessary.
Oh my God, what have you done? It's naked.
So here we have the ScotRail body fully stripped, and I've given it a good clean. I think it needs a few more hours in the isopropyl alcohol to get a lot of the stuff out of the grooves and get some of the streaks that the paint has left behind off, but it will be fully worth it when it comes to repainting it. This is going to go in for a few more hours, but when I come back we're going to go to priming it. Okay, so we've given this a coat of primer.
All right, okay, it's looking a little bit better now.
Basically, a couple of hours in the IPA did clear off all the little bits that I was a little bit concerned about. Gave it a quick go over with an old toothbrush, and then I've primed it with Halford's black primer. Now, you could use a proper primer, but I quite like using the Halford's. I don't even think it's listed as a primer, but it's basically a black undercoat. And what I'm about to do, or I've started doing, is I'm about to put a very light, or I'm basically going to put a grey undercoat with the airbrush on this, and that's because there's a lot of mixed tones on this Loco. Whilst black's great to start up with, there's going to be a lot of yellows, creams, reds, whites, which are notorious for being quite difficult to put over direct black. By lightening it a little bit and making it a little bit grey, it does make it a little bit easier to put those bits on. So now we're just going to airbrush on a little bit of grey. Right, so here we are. So progressively, I've done grey on most of it, and then I've come back and hit it with white. Now, whilst the majority of the body is that really nice intercity dark grey, that's the last part I'm going to be working on. When you work on most models, especially when you're working on figures of people, I like to start with the dark color and work your way up to all the light colors. With trains, it's a little bit more difficult. When it comes to the idea of you're masking so much stuff, what I tried to do is I tried to do the light colors first and then mask them up, and then they're done. So just to have a look at the sort of thing that we're going to be doing. This is obviously the one that we're repainting. I've done a lot of white, and majority of it comes up to about halfway on the body. So if we compare it to my Intercity one, which will effectively be the same livery, you can see that it's got the yellow ends. Now I know Hilton is having the black ends because they're so covered that it's very difficult to work out whether they are actually filthy or whether they were originally black in the photos that he sent me. So we're going with black on that, so it's basically going to be the same as the rest of the body. But you can see you've got the yellows on the sides along with the cream. The white's the hardest thing to do, but what we're going to do is we're going to mask up that white line now. So that's done. That we know that at least one color on this Loco is done. Then we're going to move on to the cream and the red, and then we're going to move on to the yellow, which is always a fun one. Okay, simple step, but worth just quickly documenting. I've added a small piece of Tamiya tape along here, which will represent this line here. Now what we don't need to do is we don't need to mask everything up to then take it off and then mask again. What we're going to do is something similar to how I do my Network Southeast.
Look at this guy showing off all of his work in my video. It's like some kind of promotional video.
So on my Network Southeast, I spray the whole thing white, and then I mask off the white area. Don't worry about the red stripe, that is something we can sort out later. You then spray the grey and mask that up, and then you spray the blue, mask that up. You can then come back and mask the rest of it up and do the red stripe. It's far easier doing it that way and trying to block out big sections of colour. We're going to be doing the same for this. So once again, we're using my version of Titan, which is very, very similar to this Loco. And we've masked up the white stripe, so we now don't have to worry about that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the cream stripe. So the cream stripe will come down here. Now, obviously, there is a red stripe in between the white that we've just done, but the good news is the cream is a lighter color than the red, so it'll be easier to do cream on white rather than cream on red. So we'll do cream, then we're going to mask the cream up, which will leave the area for the red stripe. Once that's done, we can mask that whole area up and we can come back to it later. So what happens is you add a layer, mask, next layer, mask, next layer. And that's the best way to do these line-based liveries such as Intercity, ScotRail, and Network Southeast. They're just great for it. So I'm going to mask up a few more bits and then we're going to skip ahead. Okay, so we're back to the next stage. We've sprayed the cream beigey color down the bottom here and then used some masking tape just to mask off the bottom, because obviously we've done the beige, we now need to mask it so it doesn't get covered. The next color is going to be this red. So those who might be interested, for the beige color, I used Typhon Ash, which is Citadel Air color. Really good. I used it. I have some Mark II Intercity coaches that were originally first open coaches, and I was a little cheeky and basically just scrubbed off the first logos and used Typhon Ash to color match to get rid of that first class yellow stripe that would have been at the top of the coach. So I know it works, so I'm very happy. So I've done that. So next, I'm going to do some red. As you can see, we've got a new color on top of here. So this is the red for the red stripe. It looks really weird because you've got a lot of white plus the yellow of the tape, so it doesn't necessarily look like the right color, but when you close match it, it is the right color to match that red. Now for this, I've used the Scale 75 Blood Red. I love Scale 75 colors. I think they are some of the best pigment colors ever. If you are into repainting, whether it is in models or trains or wargaming or anything like that, I think Scale 75 is definitely a color brand that you should look at. Not necessarily as great for weathering, but they are really, really good. So here we are, we've got the red on there. Now this looks so weird compared to where we started, but this is all good because what we're about to do for the next stage is we're going to be doing the yellow. Now we're going to mask up where the red stripe goes, and then we'll still have a little bit of bleed from where I've oversprayed it, which is fine. The method we use means that we don't have to worry about this. Then I'm going to spray the ends in a very different way. If you've seen any of my videos before, you'll know that I have a special way of doing yellow. Okay, right. Come here. This is a secret. Do not tell anyone else this, okay? It's our little secret. It's never ever been shared before. So, first of all, if you're one of those people who I'm about to suggest this and you're about to leave in the comments down below, well, it's fine, you can just start with white. No, you're in the wrong place. You're in the very, very wrong place to do that, because all you're doing is you're just creating more comments for my friend Hilton. However, if you struggle to do yellow yourself and you're not one of these god people who seem to be able to do it first time, here we are. We're going to be doing a very, very special way of doing yellow. And I think this is the best way for putting yellow on because the colour pigmentation underneath works brilliantly. It also adds natural shading, which you won't get if you just do white and then do yellow. So let's go and have a look. Keep it our little secret. Pink before, effectively, there's other ways of doing it. And like I say, there'll be the white people who say, okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to be laying down a layer of Citadel colour, Emperor's Children pink. Now, this is one of those things that it sounds weird.
Yeah, it sounds super weird, Sam.
Until you've tried it, and I recommend anyone who has ever struggled to paint yellow, or someone who thinks that the yellow doesn't come out with enough depth that they want, give this a go. I promise you it works, and I find I do not have to spray anywhere near as much just yellow. It goes on so much easier. Put the Emperor's Children pink on first, get a nice coverage over it, and specifically make sure that you're getting into all the nooks, crannies, crevices that you're going to be coming across, because that's where the yellow really lets itself down if you put it straight over white. Once you've done that, we're going to be doing a layer of Citadel, Air, Avalon Sunset. I think this is the best yellow that you can use for an airbrush, and even more so, it just matches the yellow that you use on model railways perfectly. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to come back. I'll show you the in-between bits where you go, oh my god, that train's pink, and then we'll put the yellow on. Here we have the shock and awe section. So here we have our pink Duff Class 47. I know I'm going to be putting some black or dark grey onto this eventually, but what I've done is I have done the pink for in case we change our mind and we decide that we are going to do the top yellow. Hilton's probably watching this thinking, no!
No, actually, he's right.
I'll put it on there anyway. So here, we've got the masking tape bits all masked up, obviously, but we've done around the lower bit with the pink. What I've done is, because it's eventually going to be covered with black anyway, I've done as much as I possibly can. I've tried to get everywhere in every nook, cranny that I possibly can, just so that when we put that yellow on, it's really going to take to there. Now, this is me pretty much done for today, but you're not going to know that. You're going to know that I'm going to be coming back to paint this next section in yellow. So I'll show you how that yellow goes on. Okay, it's a few days later, and we are now going to be working on the yellow. So we've had the pink on there for a while. We're going to be working with Citadel, Air, Avalon Sunset. We're going to see how the application goes on. I think that this is the perfect yellow with no extra bits on there. What I'm going to do is I am going to send a message to Hilton after the fact to say, are you happy with the yellow on there? I know some people have, with yellow, they sometimes like it to be this sort of colour, a little bit lighter, so I thought I'd double check with him. So next thing we come back with, we're going to be putting the yellow on here. That's all the yellow done, and we've masked up around the edges. Now it looks really weird because obviously we've said about needing to do the yellow, and I've masked up only a little bit of it, and that's simply because when I wanted to demonstrate it, I wanted to show how we can get this yellow to work. Now Hilton and I have decided that the roofs on this are going to be black as per the images of the model in the era he's doing in its particular livery, and we can't work out whether it is painted black, dirty black, or something else. But effectively, we are going to be doing these top bits black, which is absolutely fine because it makes it makes this Loco that little bit more unique.
Okay, admittedly, we changed our minds. Here's a reference photo just so you know what we were talking about.
So I've masked up around the bottom there. Now I should leave the head code area completely blank, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because that's a different black to the grey that gets used on this next section, I'm going to leave that like that, and I'm going to paint that black bit in. So now comes the difficult part. The Intercity colour is not one that comes in a readily available acrylic paint. So on my Locos I've done previously, you have to mix the paint up. So I start with a black and I effectively add a little bit more white each time until I get to the right colour. That puts in a nice solid base for it, and it adds a lot of depth to the colour, which, as we already know from other colours that we've done, that's what we want. But by spraying this black bit on, it's going to completely change the look of the Loco, because all the yellow bits are going to disappear, that red's going to disappear, and hopefully we'll be close to the end. Okay, we've put the black primer on, and although it probably doesn't look like it even under this light, this has been given a coat of Rail Match Roof Dirt. Roof dirt. It is definitely roof dirt. So I thought I had to mix a colour up, and then it turns out I quickly compared it to my Class 73, which I repainted here into the executive livery. And I remember the problem I had mostly with the grey was trying to find the right grey for it. And then I quickly looked and I was like, wait a minute, pretty sure this is the right colour. So actually, roof dirt is the colour. So roof dirt, if you're ever looking to paint Intercity colours, is the perfect one. It is a very, very dark grey, and especially over black, it suits it perfectly. One of the few things I can't necessarily do, because my Class 47 is weathered, very much like this is. I have to try and remember that there's a layer of weathering on top of it, so the tones of the colours may vary very, very slightly. However, I do have Intercity coaches which aren't weathered, which I can compare it to. So there we are. We've got that grey on. And in a second, we're going to do the peel, which is always one of my favourite parts with any repaint job. And then what will be the next task will be painting in the cant rail stripe and touching up any bits where there may be overspill. So let's go set the camera up and let's film that peel. Right, so here we are, magic time. Now, one of the hardest things to try and do on camera is to do the peel. The peel is probably one of the most satisfying parts about doing a repaint, because it starts to show off. We've obviously been working on several layers underneath here, and what we're about to do is I'm about to peel this off, and it's going to show whether what I've done has worked or whether there's lots and lots of problems that I've got to fix. I'm not so naive that I'm expecting to pull this off and everything be perfect. I know that there's going to be some touch-ups that I need to do, but hopefully this has protected what we've needed it to, so we can work on those little bits there. So let's see if I can get this done. I need to work out the best place to take this off. So I think, let's just see if I can get an easy start. That's not going to give it to me, so I'm going to go with the knife. So luckily, because of the headlight, headlamp, we've got... So what I really want to do is when I pull this off, I want to hopefully pull off every layer. That might not happen, but if we can, great. So let's see if I start. Okay, so that's like yellow and black. So the bottom of this bit is going to be black as well, but it's a different black to this. So what I'm going to be doing is painting this entire thing in just black. So let's see, pull back. Nice crystalline there on the red. So if we pull this away, so we've got, get it away there. Now, because I've cut in those door seals to make it easier. Right, let's hope this all works. Here we go. There you go. Now, I'm going to say that's pretty good. A little bit of touch up here on the door bit, but that's because there's a lot of texture down there. A little bit of tidying up around here, but in terms of colour, I'd say we've done pretty well so far. So, I'm going to do the other side and come back to you. Right. He's editing this, so I know he's seeing it. I'm gonna send you back in time, and we're gonna listen to a conversation that Hilton and I had a while back. Hello, mate. Yeah. Yeah, now you've said you want me to do the roof black. Now, on these Locos, they're all pretty much yellow when you see them. And the photos you've sent me, it was yellow in the past. And although it looks black in the pictures, I'm pretty sure, mate, that is I'm gonna say it's just caked in filth, and for some reason that top cab bit, they've just not cleaned it very well. Like, if you look really closely, you can see a little bit of yellow underneath it. No? You're sure? You're sure it's just black? And that's what you want to go with? You're sure you don't want me to do it yellow? Black. The whole thing black. Okay. Alright. So you're sure? Not yellow. Okay.
So the last thing you saw was me really happy that we peeled all of this paint off. And I was in the middle of painting the cantrail stripe on the top, and I was like, good, if I can get the cantrail stripe done, we can get this varnished, and it will be good to go, ready to go off to Hilton. And then Hilton sent me a message with a few pictures, and he went, mate, I think it is meant to be yellow. So here we are. So I've told him it's an easy fix. All joking aside, you'll have seen the previous clips. This is a very easy fix to do. Luckily, we just mask up the Loco. We've got the yellow bits here. Now, I'm going to see how well it goes on, but effectively what I can do is just spray a little bit of yellow around here and see if it looks like it's been weathered. I think, playing it safe, I will end up doing the whole thing yellow and then just weather it heavily at the end. That's probably the best bet, but we'll see. And as if by magic, we're back to yellow. So the good thing now is I can tidy up all the paintwork and I can get this ready to be glossed. We can get transfers on. So it may not look like it, but this has now been covered in a coat of gloss varnish.
Oh man, this is looking the business.
I use Rail Match acrylic gloss varnish through the airbrush. I think over the years, it's the best gloss varnish I've ever used, and that includes, I used to use Rattle Can gloss varnish because it was quicker, but it was inconsistent with the finish on it. So actually using it through an airbrush, I think, is a better finish. So usually with acrylic paints and masking up and stuff, I'm happy to carry on working on it within 20 minutes or so after I'm done. However, with gloss varnish, I like to leave it 24 hours. So we're going to leave this at least 24 hours. It's weird, you can't see how glossy it is, but it is, trust me. And then we can start on the transfers on this, which is the final hurdle. Okay, so putting transfers on. There's a million different ways that you can do this. This is my way of doing it.
Oh man, it's so cute. Look at his little drawings. They're adorable.
I try to be thorough to make sure that I know all of the transfers that are going on the Loco, that as they should be. I get a piece of masking tape and I stick it on the inside and fold part over so I can write on it. And it allows me to put where the transfers are going on each particular side.
Build plate.
So I'll have all my reference pictures up from things such as Flickr, and I will cross-reference and check everything as I'm doing it. But I know that on this particular Loco, it's got the number up there. It'll also have a build plate just there. And then on this side, you'll have a overhead warning flash. The yellow depot sign will go there, and then the crudely written ScotRail logo will go there. And on the other side, it'll be something very similar. Now, doing transfers is a very, very finicky thing. There are thousands of videos out there on how you should do transfers. However, I'm going to tell you that you should be using microset and microsol as your ways of getting your transfers to sit nicely on your Loco. However, that's a finicky thing that I can't film and do. So I'm going to come back to you when the transfers are done. Okay, so here we are. We've got all of our transfers on. We've got some nameplates and bits to put on there as well, but that's where we currently sit. So we're going to let those dry. I'm going to apply some micro sol over the top of it to harden those transfers, then give it a satin varnish, and then we'll be back after fitting all of the parts. Okay, so those of you who are sat at home, Hilton hasn't seen this clip. We're doing a bit of time traveling here, so I'm refusing to send this clip to Hilton until he has opened the parcel, and then that way this is all a nice surprise for him. We've jumped forward a bit in time, and that's simply because I can't film all of the bits and they don't necessarily look like I'm doing anything. So the last we saw, we did the transfers, and I've put all of the detailing back on, and I've also weathered the Loco. So this is what the Loco looks like before it goes off to Hilton. I've put all of the pieces back together. If you've seen the previous clip, we effectively said that we were going to make the roof dirty and black, where you almost can't tell that it's supposed to be yellow. I've tried to do that as best as I can with the airbrush and the oil paints, and I think you can agree that the Loco definitely has some character to it. Now, what I have also done is inside this Loco is a Class 50 sound chip. Now, that sounds wrong. This is DCC ready at the point when Hilton sent it to me. I have a spare Class 50 sound chip, which has always been a little bit buggy. I thought, you know what, I'll give it to Hilton, and if he wants to do anything with it, he can. That's completely up to him. But I thought it was a nice way that he can effectively start running this Loco straight out of the box. Anybody who's had a Bachmann 47 before will know how horrible they are to get the body shells off to do any servicing and stuff like that. So at least he can have a play of it on the layout, DCC, fitted, and if he wants to do anything with the sound chip, he can. If not, it's a complete freebie. But yeah, there we are. So now we're going to box this up and get this sent off to Hilton.
Right, let's get you sent off to Hilton. It's really weird because, you know, Sam sent me his phone. Oh well. Thanks, Sam, I guess.
3 weeks later.
Boy, we've got a delivery. All the way from sunny Portsmouth, from Sam, Emperor's Path. I am so excited. Sam has been on my case, asking me every day, has it arrived, has it arrived? And well, finally it has. And Sam has asked me to record my reaction, so hopefully this is as genuine and authentic as you're going to get. Right, let me find a knife. Slightly different? I don't know. I guess this kind of works. I've never used this angle before. Right, so here we are. All the documents that no one's interested in. Okay, let's see what Sam's given us. There's a little note here. It says Hilton. Enclosed is your repainted Class 47. Also find inside a DCC sound chip. Installed is a Class 50 sound. Wait. Also find inside a DCC sound chip. Installed is a Class 50 sound file that is a little weird. However, if you can fix it, it's yours. It's already in the Loco, so you can run it straight away. You'll just need to solder a speaker to the Loco PCB. Also find the Class 33 you purchased from me. Last of the 4 running numbers is the DCC code. Also find some goodies I saved for you from my trip on the Caledonian Sleeper back in March. Best wishes and warmest regards, Sam. Oh, Sam. Oh. Oh. Some eye masks. How delightful. No, that's really cool. I don't use eye masks, but Annie does, so she'll be making use of these. That's very cool, Sam. Thank you. Right. Oh, this is making so much noise. This is the 33 I purchased from Sam. He's recently made the move to TT, and as a result, he's sold off a lot of his 00 stock. And he had a sound fitted 33. My intention, and I was very upfront with him, was that I wanted to fit it in Glenloy, the sound profile. However, in addition to that, I managed to nab another 33, which I'm very fond of. I think they're really cool Locos. I know they're mostly Southern Locos, but basically I'm getting 2 Emperor's Path weathered Locos in this package, which is absolutely amazing. I think this one is in Dutch livery, but I'm absolutely stoked to have yet another 33 on the layout. Quite fond of them, as I mentioned. So let's take a look. Well packaged, Sam. Good job. Certainly weathered the storm of the South Africa trip. I mean, like Sam's boxes, stunning. Absolutely stunning. Oh man, that is so cool. Oh, it's got the little Spitfire emblem on it. I did not know that depot emblem. Oh man. And look at the grime. That is awesome. Okay, I don't know if you can see this. There we go. Wow, look at that beast. And this is the sound fitted version. Now that I see it, to be honest, I'm not sure I want to move it across to Glenloy, but oh man, that is absolutely epic. I'm so in love with that. Okay, next up. This is the 47 that I had customized by Sam. I I've been kind of watching the progress of this. He's been sending me small video updates, so I've been, you know, able to see exactly what's going on, but I haven't really seen the finished product. And he's wrapped it in this really nice, I think it's a dishcloth thing for the Cali sleeper, which is kind of cool. So yeah, I'm super excited to take a look at this. Aww, he's included some stickers. Aw, there's Merp stickers and Emperor's Path stickers. That's so cool. Oh, I'm stoked. That's amazing. I can't wait to put these on my laptop and stuff. That'll be really cool. Like this is, this is a full repaint, right? This was, I think it's ScotRail Blue. And Sam has completely redone this Loco. It is like from the ground up redone. Wow. Okay. Okay, so as far as I know, this locomotive is not made in ready to run. That is 47642 Strath Isla. And it's one of the 47s that I saw, you know, browsing on Flickr, and I thought, wow, that looks amazing. The sort of intercity corporate colors along with the ScotRail and Inverness TMD sort of markings is very unique. And also it's named after a whiskey distillery. So I was just kind of enamored with it, and I spoke to Sam and said, hey, do you think you can do this? And he was like, yeah, absolutely, send it to me, let's get it going. And by the way, there are the Merp Emperor's Path and another Merp sticker. Super, super cool. I love this hollow one. You can tell that Sam is a card man. I speak specifically about Pokemon because he's got like a hollow version, the rare ultimate Merp sticker. Anyways, let's take a look at this amazing custom weathered 47. Okay, we got a little packet here. Sam's just included some extras. I think there are here are the original nameplates, Greyfriars Bobby. He's got the screws here. He did tell me that he didn't screw it down just yet because the Loco does need a little bit of a service. One thing I just need to be super careful of is that Sam did let me know that he hasn't actually screwed on the body to the chassis yet, just because it needs that service. So when taking it out the box, I just got to be a little bit more careful. Oh man, look at this weathering that he's done. 47642. Strath Isla. And isn't that just absolutely incredible? We went back and forth on different aspects of it, and you know, to end up with this as the final product, like Sam, you've absolutely crushed it, dude. This is exactly how I envisioned it. I'm just blown away by the amount of work and detail that's gone into this. Now bear in mind, this is not a factory finish. This is a complete repaint. Sam stripped this down entirely and redid it. So every single line and panel detail is something that he's done. And that just speaks to the absolute quality of the work that he produces. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. Look at that. His weathering on top of all of that is just outstanding. Like, we spoke about getting a sort of a grimy look to it. We wanted it to look like it was very much in use. And he's done exactly that. I mean, it's outstanding. But wow, I mean, what a monster, like, right? It's absolutely incredible. He's done such a good job with this. I want to take a look inside the body just to see what we're dealing with here. Okay, so that is the sound card that he's included with it. That's amazing. I think that's like very ridiculously generous of Sam to include a DCC sound decoder with it. He said it's a class 50, so perhaps there's room to, you know, adjust that and turn it into a 47. But what we end up with here is really something super, super special. A real one-off custom Loco. Sam, dude, no words, honestly. That's absolutely amazing. I gotta say, the final result is absolutely outstanding. It kind of boggles my mind that somebody can take a model train all the way down to plastic and completely repaint it so accurately. Sam, this is literally a masterclass in how to repaint a model. I hope you guys found it really useful, because I certainly did, and while it is a very terrifying prospect, something I'd like to tackle one day myself, perhaps with a slightly less complicated livery. Anyways, we'll see. Have you ever tried to repaint a model? I'd love to know in the comments below. So if you want the repaint treatment from Emperor's Path, you can reach out to Sam at Emperor's Path on Instagram. He's got a little bit of a backlog right now, but I promise you it's well worth the wait. On a final note, Sam, well done, dude. This is like absolutely mind-blowing. It's so good. I need to still service this Loco because it does not run fantastically. And that's no fault of Sam's, that's the condition I bought it in from Clark Railworks. And that's no fault of Clark Railworks, that's the condition they received it in from the previous owner. So no blame anywhere, I just need to fix this Loco. Anyways, something totally different, but super insightful in my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, drop me a thumbs up and go check out Emperor's Path on YouTube. Sam's working on his massive TT layout, and it's going to be absolutely bonkers when it's done. As always, I just want to thank my Westies. Your ongoing support means the absolute world to me. So a huge thank you to Annie, Mystic Brick, Simon Thompson, 3B Rail, Jersey Bill, Choberton Junction, Derek L, The Little Western Model Railway, Pedantic Mongrels Railway Channel, Tim, Clagfest, McDave, Valleys 5600, SBJ from Emperor's Path, Johnny from the 62C Workbench, PN Trains, Steve Room, 71D Productions, Joachim Bengston, Scott Wood, Rod Petherick, Hogsmeade Branch Line, Tim Krinsky, Rob's Rails, St. Blazy Model World, Jonathan Regazzoni, Rap Matt RC, Rob from the Kiln Line, and some new members, Dylan Somerville, Aaron Douglas, and Kraus Rails. Welcome to the Westie gang, guys. Thank you so much for your support. It really does mean so much. That is all I have for you this week. Next week, we'll probably be heading back to Dunroman, which I'm sure many of you are super happy about, as we've got some major updates to add to it. As always, keep your engines fired, and of course, stay on track. All the best.